It is 6 o'clock, and I am calling this meeting of the Jackson Public Schools Board of Education to order. Um, Thank you for everyone that showed up and everyone virtually that's watching. We really appreciate that. If you'd like to make a public comment, there are some forms at the back of the room, and if you could fill them out and just bring them up to our secretary, Sarah, it would be greatly appreciated. So our next order of business is Pledge of Allegiance. And now we will do the roll call. I'll turn this over to Sarah.
Ms. Hamilton,
Present.
Mrs. Simonetti, Ms. Williams, Ms. Sharp, Mr. Dobies, Mr. Reddy, Ms. Acton.
Here. And now for the next order of business, number 4, approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Any deliberation? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Hearing none, motion carries. And now I'm turning it over to Mr. Patterson for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Acton and Board of Trustees for Jackson Public Schools. Welcome, Jackson community. We have a lot of great things going on at Jackson Public Schools as always, but I'll try to be brief. We've concluded our winter athletic season and have lots of end of the year celebrations. I want to recognize Joe Zesson, our high school principal, longtime Viking MHSA SEC White Swim Coach of the Year. And so he had a young person continue on to the state meet, broke some records this year, and I believe the team finished 4th in the conference and had a home conference meet. So it was great to get out and see our Vikings compete here in our aquatic center. Also basketball coach Philip Thompson, first year with Jackson Public Schools and boys basketball, high school teacher here at Jackson High, wife teaches in the district, all in for JPS, first year SEC White basketball coach of the year, that's our division, and also first time district champions in over a decade. So I think 2012 was the last time. So a very successful winter campaign all across the board. You had to be hiding under the rock to probably not hear about our cross-country coach, Nate Martin, and his Los Angeles Invitational marathon win, and came up here at Jackson High School to celebrate with us, and really just everywhere around the country. And I listen to a lot of families talk about how he's inspired, not just now, but all along the way. He's just been so inspirational to our student athletes here at JPS, and we're fortunate to have all these fine coaches and mentors. And so we wish our spring athletics, who doesn't look like spring yet, but they're out there getting ready to compete and represent JPS at a high level. DECA students also set a record. We had 38 students from Jackson High attend the state competition, and many will continue on in the international conference next month in April. So we're excited about all the work that they are doing. And I just saw that we had 4 winners of the CEO Challenge. This is another function of junior achievement. And we had a team finish second, received a $500 check. 2 other groups received a $500 check for best presentation, best innovation, and a 3rd place overall finish as well in the CEO Challenge. So kudos to our teachers and our community partnerships and our students for representing very well at high levels and really taking their education and extracurriculars very seriously. This is March's Reading Month, and it's just a really big celebration across the district, having a lot of mystery readers. The kindergarten babies get excited about who's our reader today. We were blessed and fortunate to have the Lieutenant Governor here at Cascades and Montessori, and was very engaged with our students and our staff and our families. And it was just another bright spot for JPS as we get the good word out about having our guests come in and really had a genuine conversation and discussion. So thanks for all who could participate and just lift up the great things that are happening in our schools. Lots of family reading nights are taking place. I was at Montessori last night for a 5th grade parent meeting, so it's always great to have guests in our building, and March is Reading Month really lifts that up, as well as getting our young people excited about books and putting books in their hands. One thing I wanted to update the board on is kind of our bond series. So you have a larger sheet of paper in front of you. I tried to blow it up as much as I could to keep you informed of our next steps with our bond. So one exciting thing this month is in our checking account is going to be deposited a $30 million check. So we've been going through a lot of different processes and the sale of the bonds, and we're actually going to see that money hit our banking account this week. And so here's some of the projects that we set down. And if you look at phase 1, obviously those are the first projects. Like number 1 on the list is Montessori School, because we have a partnership with our Felician sisters, and there's some leaks going on there that we want to get fixed right away. There's some timeliness of when we can do this work, and so that's a project we've already jumped on, as well as some of the lighting projects, which you all have heard about here. And so down low, you can see roofing replacements, special projects such as the Jackson High elevator, a Hunt generator, or some of those special projects. Montessori is going to be very extensive, not just the roofing project, but in phase 1. And so you see a timeline from where we're at today to where we're going throughout the rest of the year, and then kind of the long-term plan of the bond project. So that gives you some context to when we're getting started and the processes throughout that process. Another area is the high school renovations to our track and our stadium will also be a part of phase 1. Reynolds Hall demolition and the Innovation Center. So I just wanted to have you get your eyes on that. So when people are asking us, then we know that we have sold the Series 1 bonds. We will have those funds hitting our bank account, and we have a schedule already started some of the projects, and you see kind of the timelines and timetables for future projects, including phase 2 and phase 3. And so at this time, I will conclude my superintendent's report, some celebrations and some bond updates. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them to the best of my abilities.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Moving on, item number 6, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Any deliberation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries. And at this time, number 7, citizens requesting to address the board. We get 5 minutes, is it 3, 5? Okay, you have 5 minutes. So Natalie Schroeder, is that how you say your name? Schroeder? Okay, thank you.
Regarding the motion by Derek Dobies to also do beyond the minimum communication about safe gun storage, I'm here to approve of that, and I hope that that will get passed tonight. I think you're voting on it tonight. We educate kids on everything else, how to drive, how to take care of their health, how to do math. But we don't teach them about gun safety. I think the parents don't know fully what they've gotten into when they've bought guns. There are different types of gun owners now. In the past, we might have said, oh, it's hunting families, but we know that's not the bulk of the gun owners now. And with hunting families, we might think they're taking their kids out, they're teaching them safety, they're teaching them how to hunt for animals. Great. But I don't think a lot of the gun owners now have that in their toolkit, the education piece, or the bare minimum, I forget what it's called, but the NRA's training piece is if you see it, don't touch it. That doesn't work with kids. Kids are curious and they're watching all kinds of things on media. Depending on their age or their mentality, that's not going to be enough. So that's why Michigan has passed laws that if a child is on the premises, guns have to be securely stored with ammunition stored separately. And so not only do we have to educate for the children's safety, but also to prevent parents that don't know about the law, right? That's the bare minimum. People are moving into Michigan, they may not even know about these laws. So parents need to know, and doing the bare minimum, of course, might reach some parents. I received the email, I noticed the email among my 15,000 undeleted emails. Unfortunately, for me, I believe the PDFs didn't work. So that email, maybe something was wrong with how I did it, but I clicked the links and they didn't go anywhere. Things happen, and maybe I'm wrong, but definitely we need to do more than the bare minimum, because an email is pretty passive, and telling people that there's a resource on the website is also very passive. I haven't gone to look for it yet. I assume it exists. So I hope that we will agree that people need to be taught about this most dangerous instrument that they might have in their homes, at least as well as we teach them about driving a car or wearing their seatbelt, etc. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Natalie. Next up is Carl Struble.
Thank you, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I rise to speak on the gun safety issue. It's very important that guns be kept out of the hands of children and that they be locked up in a safe and secure place at all times. And I have 6 examples of what I know of that has happened recently. 6 days ago, Syracuse, New York, a 15-year-old student was shot 15 times and killed by 3 classmates that had guns. Chula Vista, California, 2 15-year-old boys with stolen guns shot 3 men, 1 dead, 2 wounded. Dallas, Texas, a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old were killed with a stolen gun by a 15-year-old boy. Another one in Dallas, Texas, a 14-year-old with an assault rifle walked into the school, shot and killed 2 teachers, 2 students, and wounded 9 others. St. Petersburg, Florida, a 15-year-old boy was shot 21 times by a 12-year-old youth. This one strikes close to home. Oxford High School, Detroit, Michigan. Mother and father were found guilty of involuntary manslaughter because their son got a hold of a gun and he had access to a 9mm, shot and killed 4 students in a school, Oxford High School. It's very important that guns be locked in a safe place, and parents and the owner of the gun are responsible for that lockup and safety of that gun. I thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Next is Jennifer Gallagher. Can you put your mic on?
How's that? Perfect. Once upon a time, I was a student here at Jackson High School myself, and I'm a proud graduate. When I was a sophomore in high school, one of my classmates killed himself with a gun, and it, of course, sent shockwaves through our school and left a lasting impression. I am also a resident of JPS School District and a licensed therapist in Jackson County. And I work for a living to improve people's mental health and well-being. I've worked with people of all ages, including children and teenagers. I've also volunteered with Moms Demand Action, which is a national grassroots gun safety organization. This is a cause I care greatly about, and I'm really happy to be able to be here to speak in support of this resolution. So I'm going to read a little bit of statistics. Children who use a firearm to attempt suicide have fewer identifiable warning signs than those who use other methods. Gun suicides among youth appear more impulsive and spontaneous. This is critical. We often imagine we'll see it coming. Research tells us that with firearms, we frequently don't. Here's why that matters so much. While only 8% of suicide attempts using other methods are fatal, when a firearm is used, the fatality rate is 90%. 9 out of 10 suicide attempts with a firearm results in death. No other method comes close to this lethality. A teenager in a moment of crisis, which is not uncommon, reaching for a bottle of pills has a very different chance of survival than one reaching for a gun. These moments of crisis are exactly that, moments. Suicide attempts are often impulsive and driven by temporary life crises. And whether a child survives depends almost entirely on what they can reach in that moment. The vast majority of people who survive a suicide attempt go on to live full lives. Survival isn't just a second chance, it's a life ahead. So what are children reaching for? Among youth who died by firearm suicide and for whom storage status was known, 67% of those firearms were stored unlocked, and 78% were stored loaded. Only 9% were stored locked and unloaded, the most secure method of storage. This is a solvable problem. When a home contains unlocked guns, the odds of a child dying by firearm suicide more than doubles compared to households where all guns are locked. The risk to suicide by gun is also more than twice as high in households with loaded guns compared to households where guns are stored unloaded. And storing ammunition together with firearms rather than separately also doubles the risk. Education saves lives. We teach children about fire safety, about seatbelts, about online dangers. Teaching families how to safely store a firearm is no different and no less important, if not more so. It's practical, it's evidence-based, and the data is clear, it works. I'm asking this board to take a proactive step in supporting the safety and well-being of every student in the district. not just inside these walls, but in their homes and communities. Our children are watching us. Let's show them we take their safety seriously. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Item number 8, discussion items. 252667, Taher annual contract renewal. I'm turning this over to Marcus.
All right, good evening. So if you remember last year, we had formally bid out food service management companies, and that is a 5-year contract with 4 renewals in between the bid period, which we're required to do per USDA. The board is required to approve the increase in management fee and administrative fees per meal. However, these are set in the original RFP that was dealt with last year. So this, again, we're just bringing this for discussion. We did bring this to the finance meeting last week. No actions required at this meeting. Next month, we'll bring this back for formal board approval.
Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 252668, non-unit salary schedule. Again, Marcus will present this item.
All right, and again, we did bring this again last week for a first look at the finance committee. So this would be a salary schedule for the non-unit group, which is a lot of the staff that work at Reynolds Hall and some other places around the district. These are people that are not covered by another formal collective bargaining agreement. It looks a little different this year as in years past, as we've created or attempted to make a true salary schedule similar to the other union contracts, and that's more of a requirement from ORS, the retirement arm of the state, to help protect everyone's pensions. And so we've created this salary schedule to mirror and look similar to the other salary schedules and other contracts that you have seen. So again, no approval needed this month. This is for discussion only, and then we will be bringing it back next month again for board approval.
One question for you, Marcus. You said that these are these changes that we're seeing or that we saw. These are requirements that you have to do.
So there was guidance put out by ORS, the retirement part of the state, I guess, is the best way to describe them. And it has to do with how people's final pension amounts are calculated. And when there's not a salary schedule in place, they look for the most closely related looking position, which for a lot of the people in this group, there are none. So then that would limit their pension calculation, I believe, or it would affect that. So the guidance from the state and from attorneys is to create a salary schedule, which we've done. And I think that would also help as we, when we have to replace people, we'll have a true salary range based on this, like a step schedule, if you will, for when we're looking for those replacement, people in the future. So again, we've created like a 3-year salary schedule, like you see like in a teacher contract or a TA contract or things like that. So we just kind of wanted to keep in line with the rest of the district's bargaining groups.
One more question for you, Marcus, and thank you for that. Do you mind kind of walking through at least one of them to show me kind of the difference in what you did?
Sure. I don't know if you remember years past, we would just have a list of the positions in the group, their salary,
Yep.
And then the board would always approve it as a 2-year rolling, so you would always approve that second year. So this is a formal, if you remember what the teacher salary schedule looks like, there's
Is this what I'm looking at or the other one that's on our table?
that,
Or this one?
so that would be that one.
Okay,
Yep,
thank
so
you.
that's the new one. So like in a teacher contract, for example, they have a 15-step schedule. So it has different, columns for, in steps 1 through 15. We don't need 15 steps for this group, so we created a 3-step schedule, right? Just a little smaller. Same concept. We have the positions, in another group you might have like a level, like a MA level or BA level, just depending on that group or whatever. And then, we just took, this starts in 27, 28, because again, last year the board approved next year's, salaries. So This would start in 27, 28. It was a 3-year contract, so we actually would not bring this back until the end of the contract, just like any other bargaining group, right? So that change, instead of seeing this every year, you'll see it at the end of the contract period. That's probably the biggest change, is you just won't see it as often, but you're going to see the whole contract like you would see any other group.
Are the changes like 2% increases?
We
Is
just
that
did a
what-
2% each year,
each of
just
them?
like we've done it historically.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we're going to move to item number 252669, Committee of the Whole. I just wanted to bring this up again. Most of the school boards in the county do have an extra session just to talk about items for discussion only, items for information. I heard from a couple board members, it sounds like it would be in the evenings and probably like the first Tuesday of the month or something. But this is, I'm thinking it would be more as needed. I just see that sometimes I'd like to have just more time to deliberate between ourselves. But I mean, I'd just like to hear your thoughts on moving forward. If we had something already in mind, but I was thinking more maybe as needed. I don't think we've had a lot of things we needed to talk about already this year necessarily, but I'm just thinking more future oriented about this. So I'd welcome any discussion.
So I have a question for you. So I'm in support of Committee of the Whole. So that's what these questions are, in that angle, or, you know, in that direction. But, and maybe this, if we were to do it, I don't know. But anyway, so I know there were some questions around, you know, how that meeting would go if we're also using Robert's rules during that meeting. And it sounds like, just from the little bit that you're saying right now, that you want more conversation. I'm wondering what's hindering that conversation from occurring in this space, or what the difference would be in that space. Again, I'm in support of Committee of the Whole, because my understanding of Committee of the Whole is that we're not using Robert's rules because we're not voting in that space. It's not a, you know, you can't talk type situation. It's a situation where we can be able to have significant discussion. And then the idea is when we come back to the meetings, the actual meeting, then we're doing the voting at that time. So I just want to know what the difference is going to be, if there's going to be a difference in having discussion, or if that's something that we could just have here. That's one. And then the other thing is, if we're doing it periodically or just on occasion, I wonder what the point of it would be for, with that as well. Because if it's just periodically, then we just would have to have a longer meeting when we need more discussion versus having a separate meeting. So I'm just wondering what the, you know, what's the difference is.
Maybe what my thoughts were, if something may have been contentious, that we just needed to sort it out. And really, I'm just being transparent. A lot of other school districts do this, and they just get to hash out a lot of their thoughts, ideas. We could, a lot of them put their ideas together to have the agenda.
Yeah, like I said, I'm in support of it. You know, I think if we do it, it should be, you know, set on the calendar. And I think that, you know, again, just designing it would be important. I think if it's sporadic and it's just if there's something contentious, because who determines what's contentious? You know, who decides when it's contentious enough for us to have a meeting versus just if it's always on the calendar and we're, you know, setting the schedule, the agenda together, you know, just having conversation. You know, some meetings are longer, shorter, or not based on whatever the conversation is. But if it's random, and, you know, based on whose ever definitions of contentious, or if it's really super structured where we really can't have conversation, I think it'd be a waste of our time. Otherwise, like I said, I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, so a couple of things. I'm still unclear on the objective of this topic. And I know I asked last month about some more detail of this meeting, of the objectives of what our goal is, and we still don't have anything that shows us that. I agree with Keisha as far as discussion. I'm not sure what discussion we're not having at this table that we would have at another table. And if the objective is to prepare for the upcoming agenda, then I see a timing issue. I mean, this month we got our agenda on Thursday for a Tuesday meeting, so is it that we would meet sometime between the formulation of the agenda and the actual meeting? That seems difficult. And then again, without knowing the construct of this committee, I mean, are other employees required to be there? For instance, the cabinet, I mean, if we're just, excuse me, discussing things, we get most of our answers from the cabinet. So then there's 5 people there who would be required to be here. And I would think at least a couple of employees for setup and sound. So it's not just the 9 people at this table. I personally would like to hear from other people who would also be affected by us scheduling this meeting. And then my other point is I looked back, so for this current fiscal year, since January of 25, when Mr. Patterson took over, and if you look at the board agendas and meetings online, that's this current fiscal year, we had 1 meeting that went over 2 hours. And that was the meeting where we interviewed 9 candidates for a vacant board position, and they each had 15 minutes. I'm not sure that you could affect the timing of that meeting, but you're proposing that we have a 2-hour meeting in order to shorten meetings that are already under 2 hours. So I don't understand that whole concept.
I think I share similar opinion with Trustee Hamilton and Trustee Simonetti. But I'm also very open. I think being a new trustee, it would provide additional time outside of the board meeting to continue to learn and to ask additional questions that we may not be able to ask during times of board meetings. But I would definitely like some more information on, what the specific point would be, and ensuring the fact that it's not just to make this meeting shorter, but to actually maybe come in a little bit more prepared and ready to move things along so that we can accomplish more.
Just also as a newer trustee, I can see some value in gaining some insight from things like the finance and facilities committees that not all of us are able to be at. So we just don't have that insight for some of these, like many of you do. So just getting some of that background information so we're better prepared to ask those questions coming into things like discussion and votes. I'm in favor of committee of the whole, but not if it's not going to help us do what we need to do more effectively.
I guess we're going in line here, so I gotta say something. I think that in my experience, having worked with very long agendas at the city, I think that these are relatively short. I think the superintendent does a good job of not only explaining some of the issues in front of us that we're expected to vote on at a subsequent meeting, but the cabinet also is available for additional questions. And I'll say that in my experience, when the agendas are completed, and maybe there's, Sarah does a good job of kind of putting out a draft agenda and then updating that. If there's interest in those coming earlier so that folks have more time to investigate and ask questions, sure. But I think that having a month in between meetings, there's plenty of time for us to have conversations with the superintendent, with any of the cabinet members. I know I ask certain things of Marcus from time to time. So I feel pretty well informed coming into these meetings. I actually would, I guess, have some questions about how we can add to these meetings some discussion items that maybe other individuals of this board see fit to add and have a conversation about how we can add items for discussion to the board. I know I've added things before, and the action of adding things, I think, was maybe even controversial. So I think us feeling like these meetings can be that space where we can, any two of us can, any one of us can ask the president or the superintendent to add things to this agenda for discussion, and with their consent, those can be placed on a discussion item. And any two of us at the beginning of the meeting can add something to the agenda by amending the agenda, stating the purpose of that, and then having that discussion here. If it's something that we want to kind of isolate and have a lot more discussion on, I think that's, maybe the proper place for the president to call it a committee of the whole, if you will, call it a special meeting. The president has the authority to do that, and I think that would be at the president's discretion to make that determination, or pursuant to our bylaws, any two of us, working together can do that. But I kind of see that already being something that, if we wanted to have further discussion on, how awesome our sports teams are doing, that we could call, the president could call a meeting, set the time, so long as it's consistent with the posting schedule on the Open Meetings Act. We can meet whenever we want on whatever we want. So I guess those are my comments.
Okay, I'm gonna be quick. Like everybody said, I'm gonna repeat the same. We've been well informed, throughout since I joined till now. I get a lot of information and I do my homework. Just like I do I gotta sit for 2-3 hours and prepare a slideshow for my parents' meeting for tennis or at work. I gotta know everything, what's gonna, come out of this meeting. I should able to support. So I think we're doing a great job, like Cheryl said. I mean, we had one meeting the day we interviewed for the fellow board member. But other than that, I think everybody's doing a great job going through all the documents. And I've been not just going through the documents, I contacted Mr. Patterson multiple times if I had any questions, or anybody. I mean, we have the luxury to reach out to anybody and ask any questions well before we get here to this table. So I think, for me, I think this meeting should be more than enough. Like Derek said, maybe here and there, we need to throw one of those meetings. Yep, you have full, yep. So that's my take on that.
Well, thank you for everyone's input. So I like that idea. If there's something that really needs to be talked about, I'll just call a special meeting. And thank you, Derek, for your input, and thank you, everyone. Okay, moving on. Item number 25267D, Chromebook purchases. I'm turning this back over to Marcus.
All right, and so I apologize. This one is a little bit of a late add that we have not discussed at the Finance Committee or previously. And I'll go over it in just a second here. So typically, just for some background, the district will purchase devices over the summer to use as attic stock or replace devices that are no longer usable or end of life or whatever, what have you. We usually do that after our state cooperative window, REMC, opens up April 1st. Very recently, we were notified of a large price increase to the tune of about 90% that'll be taking effect as of April 1st. So we wanted to bring this item tonight, since we still had time to make this meeting, to at least have the discussion on what we want to do, right? We typically purchase about 400 devices to use as attic stock replacements or what have you. Device refreshes are included in the 2025 bond program, so it was always intended to use bond funds to replace our student and staff devices through the bond program. So to follow the board process of 2 meetings that we usually do, we're bringing this for discussion tonight. However, it is acceptable if somebody wants to turn this into an action item. And the only reason I mention that is the price for Chromebooks, for the Chromebooks that we purchase at the cooperative level, Chromebooks that typically cost, you'll see, I think you have it here, $565. We purchased them for almost $241. That price is going to be $399 as of April 1st. So while we, this purchase is about $108,000, just a little bit over with the licensing, after April 1st, it'll cost almost $172,000. And so while it's not touching the general fund, it will affect the bond fund and future projects or extra work or whatever. So we wanted to bring this for discussion, and let the board have that discussion. If you want to wait for approval next month, there's no harm in that. Just know that the price will go up, right? So unfortunately, we didn't have the information in time to bring it to finance last week, or we would have. So it is a late ad, but I wanted to give you kind of that background on what's going on with computer devices. I think a lot of it has to do with, again, supply and demand, AI, data centers, all that kind of global supply and demand is what's affecting prices of technology that we're going to see. And as we hear of things, we're going to bring them as soon as we can to kind of, help be good stewards of our dollars.
I did go through your email twice, so I would like to make a motion to move.
Support.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
And
Can we have the
Yeah,
motion
I
on
would like to
record,
make a
please?
motion
Yeah.
to move discussion item 252670, technology device purchase, to action item, please.
The first one, or just to the next item?
The next item. Well, yeah, you can make it the first.
Okay.
Yep.
Support.
any deliberation?
I just have one question. With this price increase, does that also affect the elementary technology purchase?
Nope, because those are carts, those aren't actual
it's
devices.
just the Chromebooks.
Just the Chromebooks
Okay,
at this
thank
time,
you.
yep.
What's the difference in price again, if we purchase now versus later?
If we purchase now, they're just under $241 a device. If we wait till April 1st, they'll be $399.
I should have said, what are we saving? Sorry, that's what I meant to
And the
say.
difference is gonna be about $60,000.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Number 9, action items, 252671, bond change order approval. I'm going to send this back to Marcus.
All right, so this item we did bring last month for discussion. So again, just some historical context with the bond program ramping up. One thing that was done in the last bond program was, so typically, we have a state bid threshold where if an item or something that we need to buy or purchase hits that threshold, we need to bid it out, bring it for board approval, what have you. In the construction world, we don't, depending on what happens when, we might not have the luxury of being able to bring something to the board at those high dollar amounts should they happen, and we don't want to slow down our progress in construction schedules and things like that. So what happened during the last bond program is that threshold was raised for bond change orders that could come up. So again, as we open up walls and floors and things that we couldn't see before are known to us, that level of threshold was raised. So I think the level during the bond program was $75,000 for change order approvals, which in my time here, I think we needed to use it once to bring something to the board for that level, which really helped keep things on schedule, keep things moving. So as we get started with our bond program, we wanted to, again, bring this back for consideration and ask that, or recommend that the board approve allowing Cabinet, Mr. Patterson, myself, to be able to approve change orders up to a $75,000 limit, at which point we would bring that to the board, of course, at that dollar amount.
Do I have a motion to approve? Any deliberation?
I have one question for you again, Marcus. So it's been 6 years since the 18 bond, obviously. So based on the economy and inflation, you're comfortable that 75,000 is enough?
Right now I am, because again, we only needed to come to the board once, even at that dollar amount. We had, I think, one item that hit that dollar amount. I really don't know what we'll need or find until we get started, so I figured this would be a starting point. If we happen to see things, have really escalated in price, we can always bring that back to a committee or board at that time and reassess.
Any more deliberation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Motion carries. Agenda item 252672, the 2025-26 second budget amendment. Marcus will present this item.
All right, so this is the second out of our 3 budget amendments. As you know, we amend in December and March, and then again at the end of the year. We discussed this a little bit last week at the finance meeting again. When you look at it, not much has changed, at least at that point in time. I think we're about $3,500 to the good from the December amendment. And I think the biggest reason for that is, we built in some conservative budgeting for things like utilities, health insurance, just because those are some unknown costs that we just don't know until those times in the year. We just finished, knock on wood, the coldest part of the season, right? But we haven't paid those bills yet. So we've left some of those placeholders on the budget for now, just to be safe. But again, at this time, the budget amendment shows that we're kind of where we were in December, but we've added stuff since then, right? So those energy projects that the board approved, those are included in this budget amendment that were not in December. So, we're doing more. Without those, we'd actually look a lot better, right, is kind of the point. I fully expect the district to look even better at the end of the year once we have a lot of those final utility bills and purchases in. So again, this is where we're at this point in time, and I'm sure the picture's changed since we presented it last week already.
Do I have a motion to approve? Any deliberation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Hearing none, motion carries. Agenda item number 252673, gun safety and safe gun storage, and I'm turning this over to Derek.
Thank you, Madam President. I think I said most of my piece at our last meeting, and appreciate some of the residents of the district here coming out to speak in support of the resolution and underscore how important it is that we care for our students and educators and take whatever steps that we can to keep them safe. As some of the folks here spoke about tonight, the leading cause of death for children and adolescents 1 to 19 years old is guns. It's now surpassed in the last at least 5 years auto accidents. So this is has been declared a public health crisis, and there are things that we can do to help keep people safe, keep our students safe, keep our educators safe, and I think that this is a big step. We have, thanks to Superintendent Patterson, already distributed the state-developed firearm storage information to families across the district and posted that on our website. I think taking this additional step to have that flyer and information sent home with students to their families engages our parents in this safety measure, frankly, and provides an extra layer of protection, and really, I think, brings a layer of parental responsibility into the work that we do here in the safety of our children. So I'll be voting yes, and hope that the rest of you can join me tonight.
Do I have a motion to approve? Any deliberation?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. Jeremy, you might be able to answer these. And maybe not, I don't know. But I'm looking at this resolution, that now therefore it be it resolved towards the end, let's see, one, two, three, fourth paragraph from the bottom. Fourth paragraph from the bottom. At the end of that paragraph, it's saying that they have to, with a requirement that a parent or legal guardian sign and return a written acknowledgement. What happens if they don't? I don't know if we've worked that out or not, but I would like that to know what happens if they don't sign it.
Yeah, I don't think we have any consequences that they get restricted from anything. I think of a concussion protocol, right? So we already do some of these. We need you to respond to all the paperwork that we sent home, change of address, phone number. And so I haven't heard any punitive measures here where you'll be held out of class or anything
recess
else
or
than
something.
doing a better job making sure that there was a two-way communication instead of just a one-way communication. That's my understanding.
But no punitive consequences.
Correct.
Thank you. The next question I have for you, and this is regarding the third sentence from the bottom. The links to the stuff on the webpage containing information notices in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Do we already share things in these 3 different languages?
We can as needed. So we typically have our ESL teachers understanding what languages are needed because it changed this week with students at Jackson High School. And so those teachers specifically support students and families with language barriers. So they have those direct contacts to understand how we need to change our information that goes home to meet their needs.
So forgive me, I don't think I was clear. This is saying that we're going to post these things on the website in these 3 different languages. I'm wondering, do we post information on our website in these 3 different languages already? And then the next question, if we don't, how difficult would it be to comply with this, basically?
Okay, Chris looks like she wants to answer that.
Yeah, I can answer that for you. So our website, when you go on our website, there's a translate button. So anybody's able to translate the website in any language that they want. So this has prevented or alleviated us from having to translate every single document. There's a big translate button so they can pick any language they want. So there's more than just Arabic and Spanish. When it comes to our ESL who are speaking Spanish, a lot of times they will ask us to translate different documents that are not on our website, like just other things. So we work closely with our ESL teachers to do that. But if translation is necessary, then it is. And then also on our messaging system, our teachers or principals who have students, so like there's an option to pick, you can have this message translated. The only thing we can't translate is a phone message, so it's the written message. But they can only translate a message for messages that are picked in PowerSchool that say this is their primary language, right? Or this language is spoken at home. So it's not like you can just randomly send home Arabic to someone who doesn't need it or just for fun, right? So there are technology upgrades that have allowed us to be able to send things much more easily and translatable.
Thank you. I think my concern was that if we're requiring, based on this resolution, that these things be posted in these specific languages, the difficulty that might cause, it sounds like they'll be posted as they are, and then they can choose which language they want to read it in, which doesn't put extra work on us as a district. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Madam-
it's made it a
Madam
lot easier.
President, just to maybe help answer this, the department, DHHS, as a part of the law, provides the flyer in those 3 languages, which is why I included it in the resolution. So a simple solution would just be to take those 3 copies of the flyer and post them linked on our website.
As long as
for
it meets
those.
the ADA requirements so we have strict ADA requirements that we have to have, and so that's why we went to the translate button.
Yep.
So that's kind of the reason we did that. So it's an extra cost that we pay for our website to be able to translate in the many different languages. And then this way here, it covers us for any other languages. And also those flyers will be going out after spring break, home through kids, because our mailings are quite expensive to do. So, but we have made it a commitment to put this on our calendar to do once a quarter as an extra added thing. So these will go out 4 times a year.
What goes out 4 times a year? this notice does?
So we're only required to send it out once,
Okay.
so we've made a commitment to make sure it goes out 4 times a year.
Thank you.
So I have comments actually following up on both of the points that Keisha brought up. So on the foreign languages, then I don't know why we would put those 3 languages in this document. And is there a way to somehow explain that they can be translated? Because by naming only 3, we're limiting what is available to our community. So maybe we could rework that and say something about the translation being available in multiple subjects or languages or whatever, but, you know, that may be a little limiting the way it's written here. And then I'm in favor, in concept of this resolution, anything that helps provide safety to our students and families, but I also have an issue with the requirement. I think approving this document sets us up to fail because we can't comply. We know we are not going to comply with requiring everybody to sign and return. And I would ask that we take that statement out and perhaps change it to encourage parents and guardians to join us in this endeavor and show their support by signing this document and returning it. Somehow make it more of a friendly statement and not a requirement, but we would encourage you to join us in this effort. Thank you.
I have one more question for us. And Jeremy or, you know, the cabinet, maybe you all can address this. It sounds like we're sending this out 4 times a year. Was that prior to this resolution coming up?
So this is the year that we have to send it out, right? So the requirement is that we send it out once a year, but because we've been having this conversation and it seemed to us that you were very in support of this document, that we would go above and beyond and send it out 4 times a year. So no, not because of this resolution, just because this became a conversation. And we do a lot of things that are PSAs and things like that. We certainly post this on our social media and on our website, but we rarely send things home anymore because they just end up on the floors of our schools. But it is a requirement that we send it home. So we will make every effort to do that 4 times for the year.
Prior to this this requirement this year, what around gun violence what was our messaging? Do we have anything or? Okay, but we're required to now.
Yes.
And so we're saying we'll at least do it at
Yes.
least 4 times a year.
And in fact, we were required to last year and did not. So
Okay.
we're a little behind. So we should have done it in 25 and now we're doing it in the beginning of, so we did do it for the beginning of 26 and then we'll just continue on forward.
Thank you.
Any more deliberation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no.
I'm going to vote no in its current format, and I would like to see it reworked, so I'm voting no.
I'm also voting no in its current format. I think we should, you know, some of these things are redundant and, you know, unnecessary, especially since we're already sending it out. So it'd be a no for me because it's.
I'm
we
a
need to
no
change it.
also. Are you taking, okay. It's still. Okay. Motion carries. Oops. Item number 252674, elementary technology purchase. Marcus will present this item.
All right, so again, we discussed this last month. The district is looking to move away from the one-to-one technology model that we adopted during COVID. The first step is to look at individual classroom carts of technology at the elementary level. This ask is for 13 Chromebook carts and 7 iPad carts to fulfill our needs. We do have the remainder of the carts on hand. So again, tonight we would recommend to approve this purchase in the amount of $30,425, which will be paid out of the 2025 bond fund.
Do I have a motion to approve? Any deliberation? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. 25, 26, 75 superintendent goals. Jeremy will present this.
Thank you. Again, we had discussion regarding the superintendent evaluation. We had discussion regarding the superintendent goals. Since I was brought on in May and June and we established goals from last year, finished the evaluation in December, two of the goals remain the same, while two of the goals were updated, which is the bond program and the strategic plan, which kind of evolved from where we were last evaluation cycle. So I haven't made any changes since we had discussion last month. I did not receive much feedback regarding making changes, and I would ask the board to support this so I can continue to collect evidence throughout the school year.
Do I have a motion to approve? Any deliberation? Hearing, go ahead. Derek.
I'd just like to and see it in here, but maybe it's part of the strategic plan. And just like to reiterate that I think one of the goals should be increasing just our student enrollment and retention. But yeah.
Understood. I believe that that will come out in the strategic plan as one of our key initiatives for the district.
Any more deliberation? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Hearing none, motion carries. Item number 10, board comments. Oops. Where am I at? Oh, where am I at?
We moved.
Oh, we did? We moved it?
discussion.
Oh, really? I don't see it here.
No, I just,
Oh, we
I
just,
made a motion.
oh, so what am I doing?
So,
So, so we have an action item. It's 25, 26, 76, the technology device purchase. Do I have a motion to approve? Any deliberation? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Now we can do board comments.
Hey, congratulations on what sounds like a really fun and successful month to all the educators in classrooms and beyond. Mr. Patterson, sounds like a really, really fun month. Also, I think it's 7 days till spring break. Yeah? Who's counting? Thank you to all of you in classrooms supporting students for everything you do, and outside of the classroom and supporting those in classrooms. We appreciate you.
I just want to thank my fellow board members for your donations for our basket for the ambassador dinner. I hope you'll be there and see how awesome it is. So Friday night, I think it's on our calendar also. And I too love March's Reading Month. I love seeing all the posts about who's in the classrooms, and I think it's great. Thank you.
Congratulations to DECA on their accomplishments, the different sports teams on their accomplishments, and the CEO Challenge folks on their accomplishment. I thought that stuff was pretty awesome. So congrats to you folks out there.
Yep, same here. Yeah, it's a great month for Jackson High School, especially for sports and the DECA marketing program. It's amazing. And also, I don't know if I can make this comment or not, but I would like to thank Dr. Reddy. He donated $10,000 to Jackson High School a few months ago. Now, yesterday, he donated $5,000 to Parkside to help the kids who are in need. So that's a big help. And anytime I did mention to accountant, anytime it goes down, we'll try to bring in more funds to help the kids. So I would like to thank Dr. Reddy. That's why I don't know. I mean, I said it anyway.
I would like to thank Dr. Eddy. No, seriously, that's fantastic. And, you know, Marilyn and I had an opportunity to accept some warm clothes from IVW 252 that had donated the coats, and went back out and worked with Southeast Michigan Building Trades to get more, actually some of the coziest looking pants to donate to our joggers. Okay, sorry, joggers. Get with the kids. Some great joggers to help keep our students warm. I appreciate, also enjoyed Reading Month. Appreciate being able to really show off JPS in our district to the Lieutenant Governor, who actually, because Governor Whitmer was out of the state that day, was the acting governor of the state of Michigan, coming through and touring two of our great schools. So thank you for putting that together and for really making us look fantastic to state leaders. And I continue to go around. It was just at Hunt last week reading, and it's one of the best, whether I've been here or as mayor or city council, it's the best part of serving in office and going around and being able to engage with kind of the future of our community, of our district. So congrats to all of our athletic programs for what they do and their accomplishments. Congrats to Mr. Martin. I ran cross country as well. I probably should have had him as a coach. I won't be doing any marathons, and look forward to the ambassador dinner. Thank you, Cheryl, for putting the basket together, and I hope to see everybody there.
I echo a lot of the sentiments and congratulating our sports teams and our DECA and CEO Challenge winners and participants. I also got to participate in the reading event at both McCulloch and Cascades last week, and it was great to have our Lieutenant Governor here. However, it was even more amazing to see our first grade students in those classrooms with the thoughtful questions that they were asking and the responses that they were providing for discussion after the stories were read. So I think it's an amazing testament to the work that's being done throughout our district every day. Those kids are amazing, as are the staff, and I look forward to connecting with them throughout the rest of the month and helping them celebrate Reading Month.
Well, I just think this is a great place to learn and grow. I love the teachers here, the administration, everyone that puts in all of their effort. There's just so many facets, you know, with the, and I was so privileged when Lieutenant Gilchrist was here. He connected so well with the kids. And it was beautiful, you know, how he just sat on the floor, you know, on the Montessori room and just connected with the kids. So very exciting. It's just a great day to be a Viking. So on the calendar, March 20th, Friday, Jackson High School Ambassador Auction. It's going to be in the field house at 5. March 27th is spring break. And then April 28th is our next regular board meeting, but it's going to be on the 4th Tuesday, not the 3rd, the 4th Tuesday of the month.
Chris has one more thing that she
Okay.
wants to lift up, very important for the district.
Yeah, so
Good.
it's our kindergarten roundup is coming up, and so I won't see you guys again before it starts. So it's April 13th through the 23rd. So that's going to be at all of our schools. They're in the evenings. I do encourage that you guys come out to see what our kindergarten roundups really look like. So ours are partner based, and so we have all of our partners there. We also get a shirt for the graduating year of what? 2039, is it? Yeah. So if that doesn't make you feel old, but there are a lot of activities, and I think you would really understand where community comes together when you see how many of our partners come to our kindergarten roundups. The parents and children go to all the tables to learn all the things, getting whether it's their eyesight checked, all these things that have to get them ready. They also have enrollment packets. And then, of course, there are giveaways for gift cards. And then there's always a bike giveaway at each of the events. So they're really exciting. And I think this year we're going to have the fire department, which is new. So I just don't want you to miss it. They're all over social media, the dates, so you know where to go. And Sarah can always connect you with a calendar invite if there's a particular one that you want to go to, or a few of them. I also encourage you to please share those posts where you see that we have events such as Kindergarten Roundup, because that helps us a lot. And that's it. And then also, don't we want to talk about April 18th when we have our strategic plan, just to remind you guys of that Saturday. We'll be together all day. All day.
Thank you, Chris. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Have a good night.